Behold the Riff. I've not done a classic album review in quite some time, and I may not do another for quite some time after this, but this one sort of deserves it based off of a recent personal acquisition, and that is Dopesmoker by Sleep. This is an album that is a classic by its own right, considering within the stoner metal community, or really just the stoner music community, this is seen as a hallmark within that sound. One of the more important albums that you're going to find, and perhaps one that has single-handedly been able to really generate a ton of interest in the genre of music itself, while combining to really influence bands that are perhaps active today. Now, one of the names within Sleep you may be familiar with based off of other reviews on this channel, and that's Matt Pike. He's the guitar player of Sleep. They've recently reformed, but Matt, of course, has spent his most recent decade within High on Fire, who have been releasing just album after album of high-quality material. It's a little bit different than what Sleep has to offer. But Dopesmoker is one song. It is a singular track, 63 minutes, 34 seconds in length. There are not too much in the way of riff patterns that are very different on this. This is one that exists with a very simplistic frame of mind, a lot of repetition really oding to its behalf, really helping it out and helping it along, and that repetition is what actually causes some of the trademark effects that this album has been known to really deliver. The repetition is one that almost gives it a drone significance, although it's one that has a lot more power behind it, a lot more resonance behind it, some ass, you know what I mean? But this is an album that also is known for some of its cryptic lyricism, and also some of its references to, of course, the idea of stonerism. And also, the legendary album cover. This is an album cover that is absolutely 100% a legendary one that has even been parodied whenever it comes to the Star Wars universe in memes by some members of the community. But Dopesmoker as an album is one that starts off very slowly with a repeated pattern that lasts the first 6 minutes of the album before finally exploding into a little bit more of a collection. You know, this is one where this three-piece band is able to really thump along. Matt Pike's guitar almost sounds like a bass for most of this album. It's one that's really, the guitar only comes to really sound like itself during solos, which are intermittent throughout this 63-minute journey that you take. And really the bass is one that thumps a little bit harder in the background. You almost have to stand behind Matt Pike's guitar in order to hear it unless you crank up your bass pattern just a little bit. And the drums are interspersed wonderfully, and really just combined, these three items together gives this album a real backbone to it. It gives it really just the bare minimum that you need in order to really craft a song. It's almost as though this jam session became so beloved by the band that it was almost not written. Instead, it was just performed, and they loved it so much that they kept it, and look what happened. Of course, that's not the case. That's not what happened whatsoever. There was careful planning whenever it came to this album, but even still, wouldn't it be cool if that were the actual legend? Wouldn't it be cool that you just light up a little bit of a, spliff or something like that, and then a 63-minute long gem just pours out of your fingers, pours out of your instruments? It'd be incredible. Now, the one thing that is absolutely spellbinding about this album is how that repetition that I mentioned a little bit before this is able to intoxicate you. This album literally gets you high musically based off of its repetitious idea, and one where each one that is really presented is very well and simplistically developed. There's not a lot really here to digest. It is actually an album that's pretty easy to listen to from its first moments all the way to the final 34 seconds of minute 63, and that's smooth listen. Not to mention with the material that's engrossed within it is what gives this album such a legendary phenomena that has been draped around it like a cloak of immortality. This album delivers on so many different levels with just the simple ideas of three instruments. If you want to include voice, that then becomes four, and the lyricism is one that will constantly gather attention even to this day. Really, with Sleep coming back here in 2017, it is apt that we talk about Dopesmoker, considering we have potentially a new Sleep album on the horizon. Well, it does disappoint me a little bit because I'm hoping there's a new High on Fire as well. I'm excited to see what Sleep is able to deliver next for us, considering an album such as Dopesmoker will remain, as I stated, an immortal part of stoner metal history and really heavy metal history, as one of the great and classic albums that you'll ever hear. If you've not had the opportunity to listen to this album yet, what are you waiting for? Give this the opportunity. Take an hour and 3 minutes and 34 seconds of your time and get lost in the haze that Dopesmoker is able to deliver.